What if I told you that one of the world's greatest painters was also a criminal? That the man that gave us some of the most breathtaking works of art spent his nights brawling in taverns, carrying knives, spending time with workers of the night, and even killed a man. This isn't just the story of art. Is the story of violence, lust, and murder. Today we are diving into the life of Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio, the painter who blurred the line between genius and an outlaw. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking. Welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. I'm Debbie Balboa and today I wanted to talk about this really amazing artist who has one of the most gloomy and intense lives that you can really see how it trespass into his work of art. I remember a lot, I was at the museum and we were watching one of his paintings, and my friend who was with me in that moment, she said, "Oh, this painting really creeps me out. It makes my blood go cold and it really scares me. I don't want to watch it anymore." And I just laughed back by then because I already knew about him and some of the most dark aspects of his life. So I laughed, but then I thought about it and I was like, yes, I do know what happened, but I want to know more. I want to know why is this happening and how this tormented the artist itself. So I went into the rabbit hole and that's how I just decided to make this video. So thanks so much if you're also very interested in murder and art, because he's more than just, a killer, which is horrible, but he was this amazing genius with the techniques of lighting and shadows. So we will get into that. Not a lot into the specifics and technicalities of art itself, but I'm very interested in his life and what drove him to the point of no return. Thanks so much for watching. I am your friend, we are friends, so let's hang out. Caravaggio was born in 1571 near Milan. At just 6 years old, he lost his family to the plague. Death wasn't just an abstract idea, it was part of his childhood. By his late teens, he ran off to Rome and lived off the streets by painting portraits of fruit or flowers very cheaply. But actually, his raw and unpolished technique captured the attention of the Italians. Unlike painters who glorified saints and angels, Caravaggio was painting reality. He painted the poor, the sex workers, the hustlers, people he surrounded himself with. In his world, Virgin Mary wasn't a spotless queen of heaven. She was a tired woman from the streets. His saints had dirty feet, wrinkled faces, and the kind of suffering that you could actually believe, mostly because he was painting from these street life models. Now let's take a closer look at Caravaggio's early work. Boy with a Basket of Fruit, Bacchus. The musicians. These aren't just pretty portraits. They drip with sensuality, flushed cheeks, parted lips, and half-naked boys, often in suggestive poses. Art historians have debated for centuries. Was Caravaggio attracted to men? Many believe he was, though society forced him to hide it. His obsession with painting young men, especially John the Baptist, often depict half-naked and vulnerable, suggested that desire was never really far from his brush. But Caravaggio not only painted boys, he painted sex workers, many whom he had relations with. But nothing was documented or really can be proven. It's all rumors. Still, one of the most famous ones was Philippe Melandroni, a very well-known courtesan who posed as saint and sinners alike. She may actually had been the model for Virgin Mary in one of the paintings, and Judith slicing the head of the general. Caravaggio lived dangerously. He carried a sword everywhere, fighting and picking up fights with anyone he could. He had a lot of anger inside, and you can actually think that it was all coming from this broken childhood, from living in the streets for so long at such a young age, and just trying to survive on his own without no parental figures, without no adults who could protect him from this world. So it makes sense that so much anger built up in him, and he was just trying to fight anyone. He got arrested multiple times for his erratic behavior. Once, he even attacked a waiter because his artichokes weren't cooked properly. But his most infamous encounter is with Ranuccio Tomassoni. Officially, Tomassoni was killed during a tennis match, but the truth is more... Tomassoni was no ordinary rival. He was deeply connected to Rome's underworld. Some accounts suggest he was a pimp and that he controlled Caravaggio's lover, Philippe Melandroni. He was his favorite model. Not sure if it was reciprocal or if it was actually a full relationship, but people did say Caravaggio really liked her. So in the end, was Caravaggio fighting for her with Tomassoni during the game? Or was it just a tennis match, which by losing he probably got into an anger situation and killed him? I mean, with him, both can be possible, but it's just really interesting to think that it could have been because Tomassoni was a pimp. Whatever was the cause, the fight turned deadly. In the 1606, Caravaggio's sword struck Tomassoni's groin, severing an artery, and he bled to death. Caravaggio, the genius painter, was now a murderer. And also just keep in mind that all of this happened when he was already taking really important commissions. So he was no longer just a painter on the streets. By this point, he had some money and a reputation because important people were commissioning his art, which was really interesting. With a death sentence on his head, Caravaggio fled Rome. He painted masterpieces in Naples, Malta, and Sicily, but violence followed him everywhere. In Malta, he was knighted for a short time, then he got into another bloody fight, and he got into jail and escaped. So this man is just constantly moving, constantly in a really thrilling type of life. I don't think there was any sort of peace in it, and it was just a constant tumultuous fog everywhere he went. In Naples, after that, he was attacked by unknown assailants, and they disfigured his face, or like he got a really intense scratch that scarred him for life. So that also brings him into something more of a character. Now this tumultuous life caught up to him in appearance too. His face was that of a monster or of the monstrosities that he had committed and seen. During these years, his art turned darker, more personal. Look at David with the head of Goliath. That severed head, it's Caravaggio's self-portrait, a chilling symbol of guilt, punishment, and self-condemnation. So Caravaggio really liked to put himself into his own paintings, sometimes as a devil, sometimes as the murderer or getting murdered. So it's just very fascinating. It was as if he couldn't escape his own demons, and the canvas was just showing that. Caravaggio's last paintings are filled with contradictions, holy stories painted with sinful models, young men portrayed with erotic undertones, saints painted with the faces of sex workers, blurring the line between the sacred and the scandalous. Maybe that's why his work still fascinates us. It feels raw, human, scary, very uncomfortably real. By 1610, he was searching for the pardon of the Pope, but on his way back to Rome, he fell ill, or perhaps was poisoned by enemies. He died mysteriously at just 38, incredibly young. His body was never found. His life ended as violently as he lived it and started it. In the end, we have a man who was a lot. He was a lot of things, but we can't forget the relevance and the importance, the inspiration that he has on art till this day. The use of shadows in his work is amazing. The revolutionist painting, basically. Those saints with dirty feet, those virgins with models very, very real to the street workers, apostles with wrinkles, martyrs who bled like real men. They were not just fantasy, they were in real executions, no sugarcoating anything, nothing holy about it, just really crude executions. Without Caravaggio, there will be no Rembrandt, no Velázquez, no cinematic lighting as we know it. I think he was both a sinner and a saint, murderer and genius. It's a black and white story that repeats throughout the ages with many, many of these interesting characters. It feels human, conflicted, just like life. If you enjoyed this deep dive, I thank you so much, and I remind you to please subscribe, like and comment for another video. I would be out on vacations for the next 2 to 3 weeks. I know it's a lot, but don't worry. I hope to come back with a lot of content from my trips, and also because it's gonna be Halloween and I won't miss it, and I will be making many silly videos, whether if it's vlogs, scary stuff, curious stuff, or just talks, you know, friend to friend. If you have any suggestions or you want to know about another interesting character in history, don't forget to comment or send me a message, and I'll see you until the next video. Thanks so much for sticking by. I love you all so much, and see you until the next video. ¡A viento!